Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So, I want us to resume our content creation in this channel. I know we've been quiet for a while now, but it was because of the gadgets we just needed. The one that we were using got spoiled, and it took us quite a time to replace it. And of course, we wanted the best that we could get with the best that we could afford. Of course, there are better ones, even more than this one, but we had to wait and get something that would be better than the previous ones, the previous one. So, just to give you a sneak peek of what we'll be doing. I know I'm late on this topic, but I'll indulge you anyway. About US aid, when Trump cut off US aid to Africa and beyond, because it was not it was not only Africa, but generally monies that were going abroad to finance certain causes. He once a lean government, so he cut those aids, and there was an uproar, of course, worldwide. Who don't American help? But what do I know? So when we hear aid, I just want us to talk about aid. Aid, when you hear something aid, like we used to see up to recently, we are seeing US aid and whatnot. We really used to think that these things they're just free, that somebody is just doing this because of altruism, out of the goodness of their heart. But when you get when you start researching what really is being covered behind the curtain, behind the facade, there's always a trick, there's always a catch. So as the saying goes, if they are not selling your product, then you're the product. So that is how aids work. Aids are not free. They come with strings attached. We only never knew, or at least some people, some of us thought that we knew. So aid generally comes with some underlying activities that are being pushed by foreign governments into a given society. For example, in Kenya, maybe they want to introduce LGBTQ stuff, feminism. Even feminism was spread majorly through aid, and then maybe toppling foreign governments or destabilizing foreign governments. You can remember back with the Gen Z rally, Gen Z demonstrations, when Ruto was decrying the fact that US aid was being used inappropriately to destabilize his government. Now, exactly at that point, we thought that he was just propagating a certain agenda, that he was lying, being a politician. But that is exactly what aid does. That is exactly what aid does. There is always a catch. Never forget that. So, if we really want to be self-determinant, if we want to get rid of colonialism or neocolonialism, we really have to learn to stand on our own 2 feet. But if we are going to depend on foreign governments so much so that some of us would castigate Donald Trump for cutting aid, or at least for focusing on his own country, that is in bad taste. We must learn to stand on our own 2 feet. You can remember 2013 when Ruto and Uhuru were campaigning. They really campaigned on this neocolonial stuff, that we didn't want wazungus to try to determine our futures. We had to work for ourselves. We'd already fought for our independence, and now we don't want to be colonized again. Everybody who was at least there then was politically astute. If at all you are paying, if you're political, if you are paying attention to politics, you can remember that. But then after they got into office, they really started accepting these monies. Remember recently, the pact that US government and Kenyan government got into, so that Kenyan soldiers could be taken to, could go to maintain peace in Haiti. Of course, our government was paid, and most of that money, what is always said with about aid is that it really never gets to the people. It ends up in the pockets of the politicians, predominantly presidents. They end up pocketing large quantities of this money. What is being released to the public is about maybe 10 or 5%. If they're generous, about 20%. So if we want to grow economically, we must start investing, or at least taking advantage of our factors of production. Let us not be so dependent on freebies. There's always a catch with them. You see how most of these non-profits, these NGOs, they really thrive in areas that are poverty-stricken. And they never really solve the problem. Now they come with the pretext of trying to solve a problem. Maybe if it's water and sanitation, or education, at least promoting education in the slums, or focusing on HIV and AIDS. Those are the pretexts with which they come to our countries. But they never seem to solve the problems that they purport to want to solve. Always remember this. These people have interests. Nobody is just going to fight your battle just out of the goodness of their hearts. No, it never works that way. There is something that they're also getting from it. There is something that they're getting. And now if their donors, for example, if their donors allocate or appropriate about 5,000 per individual, you see, when they're making proposals, they say that maybe this area is about this number of people, X number of people. Now their donors are going to say that per head, at least somebody is going to get a Y amount of money. What happens is the people who are propounding, who are purporting to or the owners of these NGOs, they deduct a certain amount, say 80%. Now what is coming to solve your problem is just about 20%, or sometimes it's as low, as minuscule as 5%. Now, because that 5% is something that we didn't have in our pockets in the first place, we really appreciate it. And these things, free things are like opium. They're so addictive. Once you start, you never stop. So let us deal with certain problems ASAP. Let us not depend on aid. We should depend on our own ability and creativity to create a better future for ourselves. That was just a sneak peek of what we'll be talking about in this channel. Of course, we'll be covering broad aspects. So if you've not subscribed, of course, it's a new channel. So just subscribe and support us, please. And you click that notification bell so that anytime we post, you get notified. Thank you.